Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to come out again one more day. Well, come on again one more day, one more morning, um, just to take a few moments to speak with you um, and give you some words of inspiration and encouragement. Um, so I know I'm on a little bit earlier, but this was just heavy on my heart because as I was out walking, um, that was, I believe, the walk on Saturday morning. And as I was walking, I'm thinking, and it's like training. I thought about training your body because right now, a lot of us, we're in the home, we're eating more than we usually do, or whatever it is that we're doing more of it because we're in our homes more. So I thought about with myself, as far as myself, I'm always trying to keep myself and not just train my body, but train my mind as well. Um, because you have to be conditioned and conditioned not only with your body, but your mind as well needs to be conditioned and conditioned in a positive manner to where you can say, at the end of the day, this is what hopefully it looks like for me. Me going to the track, and I do spend time out there, not just for the walking portion of it, but the strengthening of my heart portion of it, the strengthening of my bones, just the bones in my body, to be strengthened. Because as you know, as we get older, things start happening to our bodies. It starts breaking down. But we can do things in which we have to train it so that we don't let it get out of control. And that's our physical as well as our mental. So even though I was on the track and as I go there, I use that also as a point of meditation, just trying to get into focusing on something outside of just the everyday norms of situations that you have to face. So you're not just conditioning your body. I will say that for myself, but I like to also say that it's conditioning my mind. And so what came to mind to me was that we have to train ourselves to stay steady under pressure. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about this morning. To training ourselves to stay steady under pressure. And when I say that, it's just everyday life that we deal with. It's just sometimes it can be contain a lot of pressure. But there are things that factor into that can help us to identify and then move to that next step that we need to move to. And we can't just say that to others. We have to also believe that within ourselves, is that we have to train ourselves to stay steady under pressure. And so what I mean by that, I guess that I can filter that in to just two simple words: to keep pushing. So we have to train ourselves to keep pushing. No matter what barriers are placed in front of us, we must keep pushing, because sometimes life can just hand you some things that you like, where did this come from? What is this all about? But when you condition your mind, you train your mind, you stay ready for that next thing that's going to come up, because you have that expectation and knowing that, I don't know what it's going to be, but I know that it's going to be something, because that's just life. So I wanted to share with you an excerpt that I'm always reading. So I got out of a book, and it really made me think. And I said, this is where all of this is coming from for me, because I try to connect to not only real life that I experience every day and you experience every day, I also like to look for information that kind of confirms you're on the right road. What you're thinking is right, and it's just becomes a confirmation. And so with that, I believe what I'm saying is that, and I do believe this, you have to have more than one resource of believing what it is that you're thinking. And that is, over the years I've done through my academic studies, of course, that calls for a lot of research. And so that research part of me it just doesn't go away. That's something that just kind of stuck with me through my years of academia and after graduating from college, the importance of it. And sometimes the things that you might not understand when you're in the midst of doing it, how is this going to help me? Or you think it's just more, you believe in your heart that it's momentarily. It's just at this time I got to do this. And once I get done with this, once I graduate or once I finish a project on the job, I'm done with that. I can move on and apply somewhere else. But you carry that skill set over. And what we call that is transferable skills. So the things that's in our mind, the things that we pick up along the way, the things that help us to become the people that we are today is all of these transferable skills and transferable experience that we have connected with over the years. So that's something to feel good about, because even with that, that is still training your mental for the better days, for those days when things come up, you can stand steady under pressure. It all connects together. I was sharing with before I read this excerpt, I want to share something with you. I was sharing with my two nephews who I went to the poll with this weekend to vote. And this was their first time voting. And so after we were walking out and they were saying, like they felt some kind of way, but it was a good feeling and they couldn't really express themselves on what it was. And so we ended up taking a picture, and I could see after, saying that they voted, and I wanted to post it because so very often what we're hearing is youth aren't voting, but that's for another time. But I just like the fact that to see the excitement in their hearts that they had actually voted, because they had never voted before. And so, their eyes was kind of watery, but it was a time of enjoying a moment in time, doing something that, is of importance, as well as something that you never did before. And so they have their own business, cutting hair. And so as we were talking, and I was saying to them something that I shared previously in one of these live moments that I did, is that it's none of your business how somebody else feels about you. And so we went on and progressed into the conversation because they were, talking about their business. And I always do a check-in whenever I meet up with them on how is the business going, how many clients are you getting, things like that. But to encourage them and to empowered them to say, yeah, we're going to do this. And so we're looking at that next step of how to increase what they're doing. So I just wanted to share this morning because as we was talking, it just touched my heart to know that there are moments in time when you have to share with somebody else to tell them, stay steady under your pressure. Stay steady even though things aren't looking like you feel like they should look right now. because they played basketball all through their high school career. And so I was sharing with them the same thing I'm telling you. We have transferable skills. So what I shared with them, as y'all were in basketball, in the realm of basketball, in y'all athletic career, y'all gained some transferable skills, which was conditioning and training your mind for when you were under pressure, as well as you will continue to do. And that's something that I noticed inspired them. So I wanted to come out and share that with you all this morning, not just about their story, but also the fact that sometimes we have to look at ourselves, that we need to train our mind, because the pressures in life is always going to happen at some point in life. You are not going to always be at the highest of your plateau. Sometimes you're going to come down. Sometimes you're going to hit some bumpy roads. Things are just going to happen because that's life. So I was sharing with them, y'all learned how to be observant. You learned how to be vigilant. You learned how to be a team player. You learned how to take the good moments with the moments that didn't feel so good. You learned how to take the wins and the losses. It's things that you picked up, skills that you picked up, even being a team player, learning to work with others, because when you learn to work with others, this is what you trained yourself to know, that when there's more than just me connected to something, I have to train my mind that just what I feel and what I think is not the only thing that I should consider, because I'm on a team. They happen to be two brothers on this team. But there will come a day when all of us have to go back and connect with people in our lives. But at that time, it's not just an individual thing. It's collective, because it's more than one person involved. So training and conditioning your mind under pressure is something that I said you guys can always value that, because I never did any athletics, but I know people that have been in it and people who still are. My grandson is, and the thing of it is, with my son-in-law, I see how he conditions the young men that he's over on the football, the little league football. And I also watch him condition my grandson. I watch them in techniques that they talk about and shared with me on how they had to do certain things that their bodies be flexible. But see, that's all training. But sometimes, here's what I'm getting to. We train our physical part, but we forget about the neck up. We forget about the mental. Even when we go to the doctor, they look at the physical part of us. But what about that mental? The mental is what you really need to train, because every time we are under pressure, what is impacted is our mental. If somebody want to get to you, to hurt you, they start tapping into your mental. And let me tell you something. If you cut off the head, the rest of the body gonna die. In other words, if you take away and you don't feed and take care of the most important thing on your body, the rest of you will not feel good, because you have to stay connected to your mental. See, let me read this excerpt, because through our conversation, through my walking in the mornings, as well as my reading, I have to be able to bring all of this together to make it make sense when I talk to you all live. So let me read this excerpt to you. Said here, we human beings, after all, are reaction machines. It is only natural to judge ourselves, to blame others, to fear scarcity, and to reject when rejected. That is so important as human beings to be reminded that we are reaction machines. And it is only natural for us to judge ourselves. We judge ourselves so much. We beat ourselves down. And to blame others. See, when you don't take responsibility for conditioning yourself, for training your mind, that everything that happens to me, whatever transpires in my life, where is my responsibility in this? And where is others' responsibility in this? Because sometimes people can inflict pain on you and you have to deal with that. What is my responsibility? And what is the responsibility of those who inflicted that pain on me? So it all goes back to training our mental to stay steady under pressure. It also said to fear scarcity. You don't have to be afraid when things get scarce, when things are not plentiful for you. You just have to hunker down and say, what is the next step? What will be my next step to get to that next level? How am I going to train and condition myself to get to that next level in life? Because if I don't train my mental under pressure, I'm going to break because I don't have enough, because things are scarce, because life don't look like I think that it ought to look, or I believe that it ought to look. But sometimes it's just not time for the things that you are ready to access. Sometimes we can access things too fast. In other words, it wasn't time for it, but we did everything, even though there was a lot of barriers to try to make that thing happen. And then when it falls apart, we wonder what happened. Because you allowed fear. Remember, I told you, false evidence appearing real. You allowed fear at that moment to make you become afraid of scarcity. Sometimes it's just a time in life we all have to experience being scarce, not having enough. But we can't let that overwhelm us. And then it says, and to reject when rejected. So sometimes, because we've been rejected in certain situations, we can sometimes, if we don't train ourselves under pressure to stay steady, we'll start rejecting those who came into our lives who really want to offer us a hand, who really want to be a part of that support system for us. See how all of this can really just trigger so many other things. When I say this, what I'm talking about is when we don't train ourselves, how we do that, our mental, to stay steady under pressure. And it brings in so many things into our life that's unwelcoming when we don't do that. We have to learn that the only person you're responsible for is you. You are responsible for the way that you think. You are responsible for the way that you believe. You are responsible for believing in yourself when nobody else believes in you. You are responsible sometimes for give yourself some accolades. Say some good things about yourself. Stop rejecting yourself. Sure, there's things in all of our lives that aren't pleasant all the time. There are things in our lives that get next to us. There are things in our lives and situations and people that can sometimes make you want to just give up. But you have to condition and train your mind to say, I'm going to get prepared now in my mental, so when the pressures come, they won't bust these pipes in my brain. Because you know, pressure busts pipes. So this is how we get to that point of, you know, having breakdowns, mental breakdowns. Mental breakdowns are real. If they weren't, you wouldn't have people like counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, behavioral analysts, if that wasn't true. Because all of us in our life, listen to me closely, all of us in our life have a ready, set, go. We all have that. Anybody out there ever ran track? You know something about that. Ready, set, go. First of all, ready means I'm still in the incubator. I haven't even did anything yet. But I got to get ready. For when I get ready to do what it is that I got to do. And what you have to do is you got to get past the finish line. You got to score that point in life. In running track, ready, set, go. In going through life, ready, set, go. And you position, now I never ran track now. You position yourself every time they say one word, which leads eventually to that point of taking off. Ready, I noticed they just kind of like standing up, and then they bend, and I guess that's the set, and then go is when you see everybody taking off. Now I had a sister that ran track, but me, I just never been an athletic person. I believe one of my nieces ran track, and I got a nephew that ran track. And my grandson, he runs track whenever it's time for that season. But what I'm telling you is that in life, as you train, there's a ready, set, go. Get that in your mind. Where will you ever get? When will you get to go? How are you going to get to go? How are you going to get there? You got to get ready. You got to get set. And then you go. And we all do it with an ultimate goal in mind. Is to complete some goal that we have. But look here, you go back to training your mind, conditioning your mind so that you can stay steady under pressure. It's some pressure trying to get across that finish line. Just like it's some pressure trying to make a touchdown. It's a pressure trying to, in basketball, it's a pressure trying to make that goal. In baseball, it's a pressure trying to hit that home run. And even in swimming, some people, that's athletic for them. It's pressure trying to get from one end of that water to the other. It's pressure in everything. So if you have pressure in athletics, you're going to have pressures in life. But in order to stay steady underneath all of that pressure, you got to train your mental, not just your physical. All I'm doing every morning is going out there walking around the track. And sometimes I'm like, do I want to do 6 sets today? Or do I want to do 7 sets today? Or how's my body really feeling? Can I even get up to a 7? Can I even get up to a 6? But that's something that I do myself. That's internalizing. That's internal thinking. That's getting ready, getting set. And when I get to that track, it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to accomplish whatever goal that it is that you set forth. And some mornings it's just like, I'm just going to do 3. I'm just going to do 4. But you got something in your mind, a goal set in your mind that you got to accomplish that. And you got to get prepared for that. And that's with all of us. Every last one of us. We got to get behind that mark in life. And sometimes that excitement, the excitement of just being in that position where a new idea has come to you, a new vision has been presented to you. You got to get ready. See, it's some things right now in your life that you really want to do it, but you just can't get yourself ready for it. But I'm saying to you this morning, get ready. Get yourself ready. Get set. How you going to get set? Start getting some of the stuff that you know that you're going to need in order to make that thing happen. And then go. Because as long as you sit down on fear, you'll never get prepared. You will never get prepared for the next step. And I often say this. I so often say this, as it was shared with me. Everybody don't belong on this journey with you. There's some people that just don't belong on this journey with you. So don't get upset when you begin to set things up. And yes, criticism will come. And I tell you, I was listening this weekend. Also, I was listening to a recording, a podcast. And the lady was interviewing another lady, and she said, but you have enemies. And she said, well, I don't worry about that. Because how do you think I became famous? My enemies, you can't get famous if you don't have enemies. Now, I'm not a millionaire. I know that. I'm just an everyday citizen. But I believe all of us can use that scenario because all of us have some enemies. We just don't know who they are. See, just because you don't see somebody liking you on Facebook, that don't mean they not watching you. Let me say that again. That's with all of us. But I'm using Facebook as a scenario. It can be YouTube. It can be what podcasts. It can be anything that social media as an outlet that you can be utilizing to get out whatever your platform is, right? What I'm saying is just because with Facebook, you might put something out there. Don't watch your likes. I heard Joe Madison say this as well. Just because somebody is not liking you on Facebook, just because somebody's not liking you on Instagram, just because somebody's not commenting on your YouTube, just because somebody's not responding on your Instagram, don't mean that they not watching you. You know your enemies watch you more than anybody. Because they trying to see when you gonna fall. So they can celebrate. So that they can celebrate. So don't feel like, well, I put that out there and see, I didn't get no likes. That don't mean people not watching you. That don't mean people don't see what you are doing. And that's why you have to train your mind that sometimes you're going to be rejected. But that don't mean people not watching you. Some people watch you and they might like you. And some people watch you and they might not like you. You know, You have on YouTube where they have a thumbs up and they got the thumbs down, all of that. Twitter. Everybody don't like what you say on Twitter. Some people give you the thumbs down. But guess what? You don't have nothing to do with how somebody else feel about you. When we going to learn that? You have nothing to do with how somebody else feel about you. That's none of your business. It's none of your business how somebody else feel about you. And just like the lady was talking to the interviewer on the podcast, when she said, well, you have a lot of enemies. She said, that's why I'm rich. You got to have enemies. If you don't have no enemies, you never gonna grow. See, you need them to talk about you so that people can come see you. That's free marketing. You ever thought about that? Or you just broke down because people was talking about you? I don't care how good you are. I don't care how much you can do for people. People are going to always have something to say about you. Get that in your mind. I don't care how much and how good you can be to people. They're going to always have something to say about you. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. But a friendly reminder this morning, that ain't none of your business how they feel about you. And just because people not liking you don't mean they not watching you. So start training your mind to know that even if they don't like me, I'm growing. You know why you growing? You growing because you training your mind to do better, to want better, to do more, to want more, to desire more, to work towards more, to condition your mind more. You don't have to accept something just because somebody else say so. You trust what you believe in. And as long as it's not hurting anyone else, you keep moving forward on that thing. Some people have had great opportunities, and that's good for them. And they're millionaires, and they're billionaires, and that's good for them. But you know what? You got some beliefs too. You got some goals too. And you may never make it to that plateau that they're on. But you don't have to get upset about it. You do what you do. Because see, sometimes the richest people are the loneliest people. Yes. Sometimes this has been an experience that I'm just saying through hearing people say they have all this money, but they can't trust nobody. They have all this money, but they feel lonely. Like they're in a world all by themselves. They got the money, but they don't have the people. Because everybody that's in their life is there to get something. And let me tell you something. That's not a good way to live. It's not. This young lady also said, when she was asked a question about money, said, well, when y'all were, dropping records and making these different soundtracks and things like that, and you don't miss that, because you got money, you got to make more money. She said, let me tell you something. You can't depend on entertainment to give you joy. Only one can give you joy is God, because the entertainment world can be so lonely. what I'm saying to you this morning, sometimes you might feel like what you have is not enough. You might feel like, I don't have what I see the people on TV have. I don't have maybe what somebody else have that's making $100,000 that live around you, making $50,000 to your 15,000. But guess one thing you got? You got some peace. You got a job. You living legally. There's a lot of positives to your life. So don't play it down just because you don't have what somebody else has. But start conditioning yourself for more. Tell yourself that. I'm going to condition my mind for more because I deserve more. And I'm going to share this. Something when I think about people and when people don't treat you so fairly. I want to share this excerpt out this book. It says, respect them even if, listen to this, even if it is tempting to meet rejection with rejection. Personal attack with personal attack. Exclusion with exclusion. The challenge is to surprise others with respect and inclusion, even if they are difficult. Isn't that something? See, I shared that with my nephews now. And they got a better understanding. And I'm not going to go into that conversation any further because it was just something that we talked about. And I shared things along this line that they could get clarity. People are not going to always respect what you do. But I like this. Respect them, even if they don't include you, include them. Even though they make personal attacks against you, don't do that with another personal attack. In other words, don't do what they do to you. Do the opposite. If a person's ultimate goal is to destroy you, don't do that back to them. Don't do to them what they're trying to do to you. Even if somebody is not on your team, don't worry about it. Keep pushing towards your goal. Even if people said what you doing isn't worth it, keep pushing. Even if your finances aren't where they need to be, keep pushing. Even if the doctor didn't give you that clean bill of health, keep pushing. Even if you wake up this morning and you feel like the whole world is on your shoulder, keep pushing. I'm telling you, condition your mind. Condition your mind. This is the most important thing on your body, is your brain. So when you go for your physical every year, make sure that you take care of this too. The doctor's only going to take care of this with the physical, neck down. The therapist, the counselor, the psychiatrist, they're going to take care of this from the neck up. We need to stop being so embarrassed about taking care of ourselves. We need to stop feeling like something wrong with us because we seeking answers from or help or assistance from professionals. That's what they get paid for. That's what the studies are for. That's what all of that's about. That's what all of that's about. Y'all often hear me talk about my studies in psychology. for my degree. You know, it's some hard work. I can honestly say you put a lot of time in your work. You're not just going in there and sitting down and come. When you start doing your work with people, you're gonna be on top of your game. Because those courses there, they not just letting you go through them courses. You're gonna work through them and statistics. And I had 4 semesters of that in my undergrad and my graduate. And it's real deep because it's a lot of studying. It's enormous amount of research, enormous amount. And you're going back and you fact checking this and you making sure that you got the right resources and giving credit to this resource. And, you know, because you got to credit where you got your resource from. So with all of that in the field of psychology, don't you know that for people to be able to help you, for people to be able to connect with you, don't you know that them people got to know their stuff? You got to know your stuff because you can't make even below a B. You cannot make below a B. You know why? Because you're dealing with a serious thing. You're dealing with people's mental. If our mental is not right, everything unravels. Let me say that again. If our mental is not right, everything crumbles. Why do you think that people try to break you down in your mental? Because when people can break you down in your mental, they got you. Because they take away from you your self-worth. They start making you believe that you are not worthy of what you know that you're worthy of. When people tap into your mental, that is not no mistake. That is not an error. They mean to do that. You need to keep that in mind. See, one thing you need to always protect. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I have to speak truth. You have to always protect your mental. Because once a person gets control of your mental, they have total control of you. Condition your mental, therefore you train your mental, therefore you take care of your mental. And we can boast all we want to. And we can act like we have it so together all we want to. But everybody has a breaking point. Everybody. I don't care who you are. Everybody I know has a breaking point. I've counseled many people over the years. And I can tell you that breaking point, sometimes people are so fractured that they just don't even know how to pick the pieces up and put them back together. But you know what I've often heard in response in sessions that I've done over the years? I wanted everybody to think I was so strong. I wanted everybody to think that I had it all together. That's why I know it's real. That's why I know it's a lot of people out there who are pretending. Yeah, I meant to say that. Pretending that they got these perfect lives. That nothing has ever unraveled. And what's ever thrown my way, I just handle it. No, you don't, because you're human. And I read that excerpt to you. I read that purposely. We human beings, after all, are reaction machines. That means human beings. That means you too. But I can't help you if you perfect. And see, because you're so perfect, you scare people off. Because you're so perfect. You don't never tell people things that you made it through. You don't never share your testimony. People get away from you. And you lose an opportunity that you could have utilized to strengthen somebody else. You lost that opportunity. This book here that I read, Getting Yes. A friend of mine gave me this from a speaking engagement I did. Getting yes. Getting to yes with yourself. And other worthy opponents. It's a good book. It really is. Getting to yes with yourself and other worthy opponents. I always share this material. The reason I want to take this time out to let you know the reason why I always share these different books that I read is because I don't want y'all to feel like when I come on, like I'm just making up stuff or just, saying stuff off the cuff or whatever, things that people can feel. You got to have other resources that you pull from when you share information. You need to have other resources. That's my belief. That don't mean that that's somebody else's belief. That is my beliefs. Because I know I don't know it all. But I can take what I learned through my readings and reviewing of different videos and then research material, looking up in some of my previous studies in books that I had to use in psychology. So that is what I get some of my resources from. So why do I say that? I say that to encourage you. First of all, to let you know, I'm serious about what I'm doing on this platform. I'm passionate about those who I speak to. And I want to give you truth. I don't want to just throw anything out there to the best of my ability. So when I rise up in the morning, I've done some research. And I've done it prior to, so that I can make sure that when I come on, I'm speaking from a sense of reality of what I know along with what I've read. And I read different material. We need to get that. We need to get that. Let go of the music sometime. And I love music. Most of you that know me know I love music. I just do. I love music. Music soothes your soul. It puts you in a different mindset. It does. And it's good. And I like all types of music. And when I want to relax, I listen to orchestra. See, I like all types of music. But that's just my functioning. So what I'm going to say to you this morning before I get off this live, I'm asking you to start training your mental before you get under pressure. Train your mental, condition your mental so that you can stand during pressuring times in your life. Do that for yourself. Do that because you deserve it. Do that because there's nobody more important to you than you. Because you are the only person in life that stuck with you. And if you don't feel like you important, nobody else will. Nobody will feel that you are important if you don't feel that you are important. All right? So I hope that those words inspire you this morning to get up and to keep moving, to keep training your mental, to just know who you are and get to that greater side of you. Get to that greater side of you. And also I have another announcement I want to make before getting off this morning. On Wednesday mornings, I won't be coming on live. I'll just be doing the Monday and Tuesday, and then the Thursday and Friday mornings. So I just want to tell my listeners and viewers that on Wednesdays, you won't see me come on live. But Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, I will be. Also, we have the Women's Circle every other Wednesday. So this Wednesday, we will be having the Women's Circle on YouTube. We also record it live as well. So we'll have the YouTube, and we come on at 6:00. So we'll have the YouTube on Electra James Inspirational Talks. That'll be at 6:00, and it'll also be on. We'll be recording at the same time, not only on YouTube, but on Facebook Live at 6:00. And that meeting is this Wednesday. So again, the Women's Circle is every other Wednesday. And this is the Wednesday for it this week. So you all have a wonderful day. You take care of yourself. You continue to train your mental, because that's important. And that doesn't belong to anybody but you, because you're going to stand under pressure when it comes. All right? Y'all have a wonderful day. Love you. Bye-bye.